experiencing a record temperature, and that you are as cool as can be, if not through the use of the atmosphere, through the use of air conditioning. I mean, I'll put this on my social media a little bit later, but I always like to make sure that I get the word out there on the show because it's so important. Please make sure that if you have an older neighbor or somebody who, and we're going to be dealing with this morning, they've decided to cut the grass next door or trim the hedges or whatever they do with that machine. I'm going to buy them an electric machine. So anyway, if you have friends or you have older people in your life, wouldn't be such a bad idea to call them, knock on their door, go see them and make sure they're doing okay because heat is just as bad as the cold when it comes to trying to, stay alive. And when you're and the air is worse than it usually is, which according to my indications here on my phone this morning, the air quality up around Edmonds and Seattle is not all that good. When you have those conditions, that older people become more susceptible to lung disease, become more susceptible to pneumonia, to all that kind of stuff. So please, if you have an old person that lives near you, and I mean, I count myself as old too these days. At least I'm feeling it. Um, Knock on their door, and make sure they're okay. Maybe go to the store and bring them a gallon of water or something. To just it hits it on two levels. Number one, maybe they can't get out to the store to get something. Yeah, I know you say, oh, you can call up and get it delivered. Well, old people don't think like that. I don't think. It takes for them to pick up and call. And the thing is that you're just saying to somebody for 1 minute out of a 4-day weekend or 5-day weekend, or for some people a whole week, you're just saying, I care. You know, just say it to somebody, I care. I'm concerned about you. I have it in my heart that I'm a little bit concerned, a little bit wondering about how you're doing, and you check in, and you say, and I can't tell you times how long that lasts. Somebody, especially an older person. I mean, it lasts with younger people too, but that simple human act of kindness reverberates so much with people. It reverberates much with somebody who's sitting there on a 4th of July weekend and their nerves are rattled because they've been getting bombarded with the noise of fireworks. And listen, I'm not one of those people that are going to say, stop shooting off fireworks. It's a tradition. It happens. It's going to happen way into the future. The only thing that I like the idea of somebody saying, well, if you're going to shoot fireworks, take some of the money you were going to spend on the fireworks and contribute it to an animal shelter. So at least you'll feel like you're doing something. Um, so I don't begrudge people fireworks, man. I was driving on Camino Island on the 4th of July. I thought it was a war zone when the sun went down. I never one community with so many people shooting off fireworks. And I think there was a fireworks ban in force. I mean, I may be wrong because it's different townships there and stuff have different rules, but it sure seemed to me like there was no rules. And I'm pretty positive that I heard uh, some kind of automatic weapons fire. That's the one where you say, can't wait to get out of here because on the off chance that there's some idiot who decided to, he had a few beers and now he's taking his gun out and he's saying, well, I got my own firecrackers here. Pop, 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 who needs that action? So something that, but getting back to today and getting back to what is happening, right now. Again, it's a long weekend. A lot of people go away. Maybe you have a neighbor whose parents, live. Maybe they had their parents live with it. Whatever. If you know somebody on your block, on your street, on your cul-de-sac, wherever you live, in your apartment building, uh, do me a favor and do the world a favor. Knock on their door and just holler, "Are you all right?" You don't even have to go in. If you want to like scorched out because you think, God, I'm going to talk to this person, you're going to tell me their story of Guadalcanal and World War II. Well, you should listen to the stories. But if you don't have the time, at least just yelling, "Hey, I'm going out, but I wanted to check on you." You don't know how much that will mean to somebody. It's really a beautiful thing, and it's just one of the acts of kindness that we don't see as much these days. And I like to do my part to spread the word about doing them for people. All right, I know this is a car show, so I'm not, get too, too nuts about talking about what you should be and what you shouldn't be doing. If your mom didn't raise you right to know that kind of stuff, well, then I don't know that there's much I'm going to be able to do for you. But it would be nice if you can, in fact, do something like that. All right, what do we got going on in the world this week? Well, we got a lot of stuff going on in the world this week, and really in the world of automotive, a ton going on in the world of automotive this week, and we always try to find the stories for you that make it interesting. And when I'm able to find those stories on my computer, I have the worst luck with the computer. I really do have to admit that my computer skills are less than, and I don't know if I got to take a course in it, or I'm just slow enough that I don't all the time get what's going on and put the logic together to use the computer. But so if I'm slow sometimes, when Nathan was around, it because I could just Nathan knows. I mean, he could do put the computer in his sleep. I have limited skills, but I try. I always try to do it. So in the top 5 this week, things that you should know. Boy, if you think this will on the road, if you think that the 4th of July, you're getting out there and you're seeing people that you haven't seen on the road in years, you are 1,000% right. Our friend Mark Vaughn writes in Auto Week that, and this is nothing you didn't know, the traveling by car is by far our popular means of getting anywhere. Combine that with the heat, and temperatures can really start to rise. 71 million travelers are expected to hit the road this week. The vast majority in cars, 85.4% of those travelers. The worst drive. Plan your trip to leave before 2 in the afternoon or after 7 o'clock at night. This is the most travelers ever for a 4th of July holiday weekend. Most. And because you have a 9-day period where a lot of people are taking time one side to the other. So if you're thinking about trip where you said to yourself, I want to take the kids to see Uncle George in Wisconsin, but I don't want to load everybody on a plane and the luggage and the this and the that. It's too crowded. So what do you say? We'll rent a motorhome, and we'll take a few extra days off, and we'll drive to Uncle's house in Door County, Wisconsin, which is about halfway across the country. And there'll be some interesting stuff to see along the way. You can go see the Buddy Holly crash site. You can go see where Gene Vincent was. It's Eddie Cochran. When Eddie Cochran was born, and go across and see tons of interesting stuff. You can go to the church in Idaho, the shrine. There's just so many things you can see driving across country. Some of them you can even stay at. But you do that, and you have to. There's going to be a ton of people on the road with you. and you're going to have to go through some mountains to get there. And you have to, and the number one thing I tell people that are driving on the holiday weekends is stay over to the right as much as you can. The safest thing that you can do when you're driving on a holiday week, any weekend really, but especially holiday weekends, I always think is stay over to the right and develop a technique where you're driving along in that right lane, and when cars come in from an exit, you move over one lane and then go back right lane or the center lane. Couple of reasons for this. Number one, you get the people that always want to do 90 miles an hour, and they're behind you. And if you don't want to do the 90 miles an hour and you're in that left lane and you're doing 60, you're going to get some angry people. You might even get a ticket. In some states, it's in the state of Washington, it's illegal to go slower than the flow of traffic in that lane. So really, stay to the right as much as you can. It's an old rule. It's a simple rule. Other reasons too to stay to the right as much as you can. Center lane is, and I'm going to be honest about this. There are a lot of intoxicated people that drive on roads on 4th of July weekend. It's a lot of people that have a few beers or they smoke a few spliffs, and the next thing you know, they're in their car, and their judgment becomes bad. And the next thing you know, after that, over the divider across the, and they're heading for you. Well, when you're in the left lane and they're coming across, you're in trouble. You got not very many places to go. If at least you're in the right lane or the center lane, you have a chance to react, to see it come, to get out of the way. However you can do it, by moving your vehicle over to the right or whatever the maneuver is that you have to do in that case. You have an extra few seconds to react. When you're in that left lane and that person comes across that median, and they're, they're not paying attention to what the hell is going on. And they don't have to be drunk. Listen, there's a lot of inexperienced drivers that drive on a holiday weekend. I mean, you get, little Janie, and she's 18 years old, got her driver's license, and driving, the car to Uncle's house out in Door County, Wisconsin there. And you're starting to get tired, man. You can't keep your eyes open. So you say, Janie, why don't you take the wheel for a couple of hours, for an hour or two, while I close my eyes? And you know that happens all the time. It doesn't be Janie, it could be Jim. Or it could be undecided. It could be whatever. So now you've entrusted the lives of your family over to an inexperienced driver that may have less than a year's experience. And they got to keep up with the flow of traffic. So they're going to be doing their 60, 70 miles an hour. And they are going to be, at the mercy of the same person that you, who's been driving for 20, 25, 35, 30, have the experience to pull yourself in a situation. But little Janie, who's got her driver's license, first time, she bugged you to take her driving when she was, now she's in command of your vehicle. Well, all of it, little Janie is kidding with some guy in a tractor trailer truck that hasn't slept for 4 days, and he's all coked up or speeded up, and he's on Janie's tailgate. And Janie is panicking, and she doesn't want to wake you up. So, I'm not saying, and this goes back to what I do tell you about when you have a new driver in the house, you should send them for driving lessons, not your driving lessons, but a defensive driving school, so that they know if they encounter these situations, they have at least a little wee bit of experience in it. And so, you get yourself in a situation where you have a lot of inexperienced drivers on the road. And probably between that 2 and 7 time period that we were talking about. Because there's there's just a tendency to, hey, I want to rest my eyes. I've been driving since 7 o'clock this morning. We got so many miles to go. I want to drive at night because it's the road becomes more dangerous at night. So something to think about. And of course, seatbelts. I'll always tell you that. And by the way, gas is actually cheaper this holiday weekend than it was last 4th of July. I think we're down. I'm trying to see what AAA has said. $3.53 a gallon was the average last year. We know that doesn't mean anything out here. Gas prices expected to go down and then level off after this weekend. Now, that's, of course, subject to the Gulf Coast and the hurricanes and everything else and screw up the prices. But there's a research firm that does the time of holiday week road trips. And they said road trips on a holiday could take 67% longer than normal. Again, I'm not saying you don't know if you've been driving on holiday weekends, but I'm trying to enforce to you the idea of, number one, make sure your car is safe. Number two, make sure you wear your seatbelts. Number three, stay to the right so that you can be prepared for incidents that come up as you're driving down the highway. And, go out and be safe and have a good time. It doesn't help anybody if you get into an accident. It just screws the weekend, even if it's a minor accident. So do yourself a favor and heed the words of warning. I think that that'll be something that you'll feel good about. Now, also, some of the other stuff that's coming on, the rest of the top 5 things that we really want you to know so that you have a chance to kind of get a couple of low-cost cars are on the market. One of the things that auto manufacturers are seeing is that people pay $65,000 and $70,000 for a car and $80,000 for a car or a truck. They're having they got high-priced trucks sitting on their lots. People don't want to pay $75,000 for a Jeep pickup. They don't want to pay $100,000 for a Wagoneer. So some of the automakers are catching on to this, and they're saying, okay, we're going to pack our cars and lower the price. The prices is one that I've driven the Kia Seltos. I think it's a decent car. I mean, again, it's it's not going to be a BMW M, but if you're looking for a fairly safe car that's going to get you from point A to point B with all-wheel drive, this little crossover is priced at $25,965 for the 2025, and that's with all-wheel drive. So if you're saying to yourself, I need to, excuse me, I need to car that I can make the payment on. I need to get a car that is going to be relatively trouble-free, and we hope that a Kia will be that for you. You take a gamble with these cars sometimes, but the Seltos comes in at $25,960, which is a pretty decent price. Volkswagen has gotten the message too. The Jetta S, which is the base model. They've gotten rid of the 6-speed manual, so you can only get it now with an automatic. It's the dual clutch automatic. This fall, it comes out with a base price of $23,295. Again, if you need transportation, if you're looking for a car that's going to be under warranty for a certain amount of time and serve you as a decent car, I think the Volkswagen Jetta is a pretty good bet for a 4-door sedan type car. I think it's one of the cars that you can really it's a good car to drive. It's a car that will get you where you're going when you want to go there, and still be covered with a warranty, still be covered with the things that you expect out of a new car. More Volkswagen news. It looks like they are getting ready to, or have an agreement in place, Volkswagen does, with Rivian, so that Rivian will essentially become part of Volkswagen. And, Volkswagen doing some interesting thing. They're trying to expand their electric footprint because no matter what you from all these people on YouTube or what you watch or what you hear, electric cars aren't going away. It may be in a tough place right now, but electric cars aren't going away. And Volkswagen, who has been a bit behind, I think, in some of their electrification, figures that the easiest way to do it is to hook up with Rivian. And I think that's a lot of people like their Rivian, so I'm glad that is that's something that can happen, that they can become a piece of Volkswagen. I think they put out a good car. A little expensive for what you get, but it's a good car. And I think that you get, a decent car, and you get your worth. Rivians, I haven't driven one yet, so I don't know, but I know a couple of people that got them, and they seem to be quite happy with them. So that's good news for the people at Rivian and people at Volkswagen. I'm also excited to see what the Scout is going to look like. Volkswagen bought the Scout nameplate. They're working on an all-electric Scout that's supposed to be coming out here pretty soon. And I'm especially interested in seeing what that ride looks like. I think it's going to really be something to watch. As far as people love that Scout. I look around and see the old Scouts and what they and they're really incredible loyalty and the love that people have for those cars. New car technology, and we've talked about that a million times on this particular program. New car technology. These people, I get into a new car every week and I drive it, and it almost takes me a week. Now, it used to be get in, boom, boom, boom. It'd be pretty basic stuff. Your map, your navigation system, boom, 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 this and that, and everything would be okay. Well, days, there's so different things that are run off of that computer that you really do have there really is a a period where it is curve, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And curve on some of these cars. I mean, you get into these cars. I mean, everything is controlled through the computer, through the screen. The redundant controls are going away. So, and I think that for many people who are not so computer savvy, who are not willing to spend a lot of time learning about how their car works and getting the max out of it, it's more and more frustrating. It's becoming a point of dissatisfaction. A 2-hour class to show somebody how to turn on their defroster. Maybe you've gone a little bit overboard on that particular facet of your automobile. So I don't know if there is an answer to it. I think as cars get more and more complicated, as we use more and more computers in our cars and chips and everything, it's not going to go the other way. You're not going to put out a brand that it's going to have, the slide switches for the defroster and the cable. Everything on a car in the near future will be done by computer. It's all pretty much there now. It's just that they haven't made the leap into getting rid of some of the familiar controls that people, especially if you have a high-end clientele, they expect that car to be, kind of easy to operate. And I think you'll get that in some of the lower-end cars. But boy, some of these cars I get into where everything runs off of electronics, it's crazy. You don't learn. I mean, there's cars that you don't learn about everything on the car. I mean, I roll through press releases and media guides on all of these cars, and yet there's always something I noticed the last day that I didn't test or I didn't stick with. It's just the way it is these days, because it takes you 2 weeks, 3 weeks to call. So that's something you may want to be thinking about. You may want to be looking at when you go to buy a car. There's an article out last week. Boy, I got mosquitoed the other day. I was up at Camino Island, man. I got up there, and mosquitoes were biting me like crazy. I mean, it ripped up my arm. I mean, I ripped it up by scratching. But boy, if you're going up to Camino Island, if you're going up to the beach up there, or camping or anything, bug repellent. That was the thing I didn't do is throw a can of bug repellent in my car, and I paid the price for it. My arms looked like World War II battlefields. It's really kind of scary, to be quite honest with you. Anyway, as we continue on, one more quick thing. I just wanted to give props out to Mazda also, and that would make 5 things. The CX-90 3-row crossover that we have tested before has earned an Insurance Institute safety top safety pick in their plug-in form. It's their highest safety award. You got to get the highest good rating in the small overlap front test. Mazda's cars are all consistently gets awards. I don't think there's one of them that doesn't get some kind for safety. Every one that they put out. So, congratulations to Mazda. It's interesting to see how many people are taking a look at Mazdas these days. It's becoming. We've always been on Mazda on this program. I mean, I've loved Mazda for a long time. They've always made a car that is exceptionally fun to. As good. I don't like soft and cushy. My old man liked Cadillacs. It was soft and cushy. He didn't want to feel the road. He wanted to drive a car that basically felt like it was a couch rolling down the street. I'm not like that. I like to feel. I like to, feel the steering. I like, more performance tuned vehicles. And the Mazda folks have really figured out how to claim that feeling of luxury and the feeling of athleticism together in their vehicles. And it goes, from the Miata on up through the CX-9. I mean, it's just, I haven't driven a bad Mazda vehicle. When the only thing you can complain about is the entertainment system when you get into a car. And the only thing you can find to complain about is the system or the color of the stitching. Like the green stitching, guys, it doesn't go with the yellow stitching. It looks like a pumpkin. If that's all you got to complain about, then you've hit a home run. Then you've done something pretty good. And you've been able to, to accomplish something that I think many automakers strive for. And it's just, and Mazda has really hit that sweet spot. And good. All right, let's jump into our favorite segments, the ones that I get to tell you a little bit about the different vehicles that I drive each week. And I know we were gone last, so we didn't get a chance to do this. Still had it, but a couple of vehicles that have really caught my eye, and I love, I really enjoy when I drive these vehicles, the ability to tell you about them. And part is that I just I don't know. I love cars. I love telling people about them. They've been so there's some of these cars are just really a lot of fun. I'm sorry that I'm looking this way for a second, but I am looking for something that all of a sudden I couldn't find. It was here. And now it's gone. Oh boy, I hate when that happens. It's all right. This week, driving the GV70, the Genesis GV70, smaller. It's a crossover. It's a smaller SUV. It's a very distinct looking SUV, and I gotta be honest with you. I always say that. I mean, I'm always honest with you. This is one of the nicer, if not the nicest vehicle in the class that I have driven. It's, again, we're talking about a car here that is not overly expensive compared to other vehicles. It's in the luxury class. It's well designed. The interior is roomy, and it really feels good to drive. It has a lot of power. I think it's up around 305 horsepower for this particular vehicle. And it really, it's just a beautiful car to drive. It's not an athletic car. It's not like you're going to get into a BMW or you're going to get into an Audi and feel all that engineering and closeness to the road. You're not going to get that with the Genesis. What you're going to get is much more of a luxurious drive, much more of an efficient vehicle, much more of a spacious and roomy vehicle, and you're going to get a lot of design. You're going to get a lot of design. Now you can see it right behind me in the Happy 4th of July thing that I have set up there. I actually did a Yo Vinnie on this, and for some reason, kids, I can't find it. Maybe it's here somewhere. So this is what you do. This is what you call vamping. Oh, okay. Hang on a second, because I think we found what we were looking for. And I always love it when I find what I'm looking for. Again, it's a one-man show sometimes, so we really got to kind of give you the lay of the land here. So just give me 1 second, and we will get it punched up. By the way, we got a. All right, we'll put that there, and we should have that up in a minute. We got a listener, Chris. Good morning, Chris. Sent in a question: what's better, turbo or naturally aspirated? Well, I mean, isn't a turbo kind of? I mean, you're talking about turbo versus a carburetor. I'm a turbo fan because that whine. But it's tough on an engine. And if I'm looking at a car that I think is a runaround car around the streets, I like injection. I like the old fuel injection system. Turbo's good. If you want to hear the turbo kick in, if you're trying to squeeze every possible piece of horsepower out of an engine that you can, they're great pieces on an engine. But I came up when I was a kid. We used to get those turbochargers, things that stuck out of the hood, and we used to bolt them on to Chevy V8s. And yeah, man, those things made it go faster. It put a lot of stress on the engine, and I think that's what the turbos do in some cases, depending on who's puts more stress on the engine. And do you need that? I'm not sure that you want that for driving around town. If you're trying to squeeze all the horsepower you can out of an engine, then a turbo. I'm not always sure that in every sense of the word, it's always a good way to go. As far as and the manufacturers, they've taken care of that for you. Smaller engines. I think the smaller the engine, the more problems you ask for putting a turbo, buying a turbo. If you're looking for performance, you put a turbo on. If you're looking for get me to the supermarket and back, maybe you're liking the naturally, the fuel injection. And I don't know, they still make a car that uses a carburetor. I haven't done it in many years. All right, let's do the Yo Vinnie. What are you driving this week with the Genesis GV70?
Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week?
This week, it's a holiday weekend romp in what many consider to be the top of the small SUV class, the Genesis GV70 3.5T. That's for Turbo Sports Prestige. Now, this one is, one of the top-of-the-line models. I mean, just chock full of tech and power and comfort and luxury. Genesis captures the rare combination of capturing attention from the outside with its massive grille and its beautiful body lines, unique front and rear lamp styling, and it catches your attention from the inside. When you get into that interior, the different textures, the comfort of sitting in those seats, the wide screens, all make you feel like you are in command of this luxurious vehicle. The two circular indicators, one for gear shift, one for the nav system and the entertainment system, really work out well. Lots of space, lots of comfort in these seats, front and rear, both cooled front seats, do a little massaging for you too. Plenty of space among the top of the class in this vehicle. It really does give you a load of area to load it up at Costco if you want to. Think of how many bags of fried chicken you can put in that thing. Also, the Genesis gives you an incredible amount of power, 375 horsepower out of the twin-turbo V6 8-speed transmission. It really is amply powered to get you onto the freeway, also give you enough to get on the highway and take off, and also really handles well. I mean, they really have found a sweet spot with this vehicle in handling and in power. Beautiful car, this Genesis. I'm enjoying my week with. We'll have a full review coming up for you. I love that toothy grill. We'll have a full review coming up for you in a future edition of Drive Time. I'm New York Vinnie. Thanks so much for listening. Have a happy and a safe 4th of July weekend. There you go. There's your look at what I'm driving this week. Yo, Vinny, what are you driving this week? The Genesis GB70. Like I said, they found a sweet spot with this car, with that combination of driving it as a performance. It's not really a performance vehicle. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is a performance vehicle. This is something you want to drive when performance isn't the top of mind. And, every vehicle doesn't have to be about performance. People, the mass amount of people don't buy a vehicle because they want to go faster than everybody. They want it to sound louder than everybody else when they pull into the hamburger joint. The vast amount of people buy vehicles because the gas mileage is good. They buy vehicles because the price is budget. The payment isn't going to whack them out. They try to get, these days, I mean, you get power windows, you get, what can you afford? And a lot of people buy vehicles for safety. They'll buy vehicles because they test well against other vehicles in crash tests, because they have families and they want to protect them. It's just the facts of life. Very small amount of people buy, these hopped up Hellcats and vehicles like that. They're nice. They're fun to look at. But as far as the utility of getting your kids around every day or getting you to work every day and back, they're not going to do the trick. And as we see in the case of the Belltown Hill, they might even get people pretty pissed off at you. I guess there's now they're looking for him again. There's a new warrant out for the Belltown Hellcat. A dude that just bothers me. It's just it just, to me, symbolizes everything that turns people against car culture. I mean, I found a good home in car culture, and with different kinds. I love to go watch drag races. I love to watch rallies. I love to watch this. I love to watch go out and go to a car show and learn about different kinds of vehicles. I loved going out to the Overland thing last year out by Leavenworth. Not only do you go and you see different vehicles and learn and watch people using their vehicles in different ways, but you'll learn a lot. And there's something about that part of car culture that allows you to get off-road and get into the woods and get into places where you might normally not hike. It's a huge part of it. The access that cars open up to people that have trouble walking, have mobility problems, to get into nature, to get into places where they normally would be able to go, is unbelievable. And that's why I'm such an advocate of electric vehicles in nature, because I think that those vehicles are going to allow people to experience nature in a whole different way. They're going to allow people to experience going by a creek, camping in an entire different way. And I think that to me, as somebody who, goes through that and deals with that, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be able to take an all-wheel drive vehicle up off the road and take it to places that previously I couldn't have gone. It really does mean something. It really helps people out. All right, time now. And so to finish my thought, people see the Helltown, the Belltown Hellcat, and it erases all of it. It erases the good thing because then they fall into loud kids who have no regard for anybody else. It's like going back to the motorcycle gangs of the 50s. They would go in and terrorize the town. I mean, that's basically what this guy is doing. No regard. The only thing he cares about is his Instagram followers. What a sad state of affairs. And I think it's just pitiful for the people that have to put up with that. And listen to this, because he wants to get instant looks, rev his car around the streets at 2:00 in the morning, so he can get 250,000 Instagram followers. Sorry. Anyway, all right. Let's look at what usually is my favorite segment on this fine radio show, where I get to tell you about what I drove this week. Always a popular segment, and just call it up here a second, Bill. There we go. I had the honor this week of driving the Land Rover Defender 110. And I know you've heard bad things about Land Rover. You've heard, they're horrible to fix, they're horrible to do this, horrible to do that. Well, some of that may be true. What I will tell you, though, is this is one heck of a sweet vehicle.
Puts the car through its paces and lets you know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, no, the 2024 Land Rover Defender 110S County Edition. This car has a long name, but that's okay, because it has such good things about this vehicle. So many things I love about this vehicle, that I was able to get past the long name and just enjoy the fun, the driving, the ability of this vehicle. This is a true four-wheel drive vehicle. It's built to take you anywhere to go, whether it be in the woods or whether it be somewhere where I was reading somewhere. I didn't try this, but I was reading it'll go into like 17 or 18 inches of water. Very luxuriously designed. What this truck really does is it brings the luxury and the ability together in a vehicle, in a package that is actually a lot of fun and a lot of and doesn't ride roughly. It drives smoothly. It's got a lot of room in there. There's the 3 rows. I don't know. Sometimes it's a little tight for the third row back there. But again, take a look at this vehicle. Something that you take off the road and you go with, and it takes you wherever you want to go. I mean, I was hanging out up in on the Joe Riccici Memorial Course there with Forerunners and Tacomas and everything, and everybody was gandering at this vehicle, taking a look at it and asking me questions about it. It's it's a vehicle that you just feel will take you just about anywhere you want to go. Now this county package that we see here has made its debut for the 2024 model year. The V8 engine that's in this thing that cranks out, I don't know, 300 or something horsepower, is really, puts a point of quickness into this that really socks it to you. I mean, it really gives you. I mean, it's a quick vehicle. The only thing that I can think of in this class that competes against it is the Lexus LX600. But take the Land Rover, the Lexus, for its ability to go off-road, for its ability to do things that I just don't think you can do in the Lexus. It's legit, this vehicle. As long as you option this thing outright, it'll just see things like that. Now, 6.7 seconds for the Defender when it had the inline six, 395 horsepower. It's a lot of weight, this vehicle. I mean, I got a full-size spare. I have a lot of gear on this thing. But even with the weight, it doesn't matter because you're not drag racing this vehicle. You're taking this vehicle off-road. You want it to be a good vehicle, a vehicle that you don't feel you're going to get stuck with when you're out in the hinterlands, in the wilderness, and that's what vehicle delivers. It delivers comfort, it delivers ability, it delivers comfort. I don't know that I felt the vehicle as comfortable as this one to take off road, to go up into the woods and get lost. When you drive, very quiet interior if you're on the way. Incredible luxury and feeling when you're driving on the road. This vehicle loses nothing from its off-road demeanor that does anything to it on the road. Sometimes with the tires and this and that, you get noise, you get it's hard to steer. This mitigates all of that. This Defender is an excellent vehicle, and it gives you the ability, if you want to, come up to close to 100 grand. It gives you the ability to tackle anything off-road, including those streams that we were talking about. Although I don't suggest that you drive your vehicle through a stream, but it certainly delivers to you a going off-road, a comfort for going off-road, a luxury in going off-road. And interestingly enough, it's one of the only vehicles I've ever driven that tells you what the air quality is inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle. And you can actually ionize the air. There's a switch on the dashboard. You ion air so that the air inside the vehicle can have zero particles. It can be fresh, clean air. Well, perfect to have on a day like today when everybody's talking about this, the air quality today is as good as you would expect it. So, this particular vehicle, I believe, was $89,000 the way it stood. Pretty well optioned out, pretty well set up for. I also liked the steelies on this thing, the wheels. The white steel wheels that went with the vehicle. Really a sharp looking vehicle. When you park this thing in a lot, or you park it down by the beach, or anything, people come over and they look at it, and they like it. The one other thing that I wanted to mention about this vehicle was, and I think this is something that really won me over on this vehicle, is there's a little switch inside the back door, and this vehicle has air suspension, so you can raise it up if you have to go over hill and over dale, and send it back down to drive on the roads. And a lot of times when you may be camping, you got all your gear in the back, and you get out, you're in the up position. Now you're reaching up. Little switch on the inside of the rear door. You hit that switch, and it lowers the vehicle down to its lowest point automatically. And, it's a little thing, but it's that they're thinking about how this vehicle is going to be used and needs to be used, so that, so it's not going to be an inconvenience to you to have to reach up and grab stuff out of the vehicle. Again, it's a little thing, but it makes the owner of the vehicle, the person that's running the vehicle, feel like, hey, these people really give a damn about what I'm experiencing, what I have to do. But the end user of this vehicle, they're thinking about it. It's just the little touches like that throughout the vehicle. The rear windows that have the skylights in them, so that you can get light into the vehicle. Just a number of different things on this car, that the little touches that make it a spectacular car. So that's the Land Rover Defender. I really enjoyed my week in this thing. If you're in the market for an off-road vehicle, a vehicle that will eat anything up off the road, you got a lot of gears to spend, and you can get past the mechanization of the Land Rover. It's a fine vehicle. It's an excellent vehicle. I had a lot of fun driving it this past week, or actually a week or so ago. All right, that's going to wrap it up for another edition of Drive Time. Thank you so much for listening to the show this morning and watching it on the social media. We'll be back with you next week for another edition of Drive Time, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Thank you all so much for listening to the show. We'll see you Monday morning with Michael right here on the Golden V Media Network. Thanks for watching.